Morning, everybody. Today we're going to run a test on some target samples that we've made up. These vary. The targets are numbered from 1 to 7. Each one of them is a slightly different either metal or process to make it more durable as a target. Part of what led to this was using some cheap Chinese metal targets. We tore up pretty bad. After one use. It was a heck of a lot of fun, but they deteriorated pretty quickly. So the effort here was just to try and experiment and see what targets, what metals held up better than others. So starting from number 1, this is low carbon, no heat treatment, just as welded. This is number 2. It is low carbon and it is case hardened with a case hardening compound. The surface is pretty hard. The inside is actually soft, so this may do actually pretty well with impact loads. This is number 3, and number 3 is 1095 steel with no heat treatment, just welded to see how it holds up. And this is the same sample but heat treated and tempered. So what we did was we made it fully hard and then tempered it back down to about a blue. This one here, number 5, is 3/16 thick 1095. These are all 1/8 down here. This is 3/16 thick 1095 untreated. This one here is number 6, and it is 3/16 that has been hardened and then the temper drawn back just like the other sample of 1095. And then this one is 1095 1/8 thick, left fully hardened. So this is like Rockwell C66 hardness on this guy. It's pretty dang hard. It might even shatter, we'll see. We're going to be hitting him with a FX Crown today in 22 caliber, not tuned back at all. The gun is as delivered from FX, and if you notice, I've mounted these on springs so that they can move out of the way a little bit. I didn't want them to be rigidly mounted because I didn't think that was a very fair test. So they can move a little bit. They've got some springs to constrain them, so they should reset pretty reliably. Anyway, we're going to tear them up, and that's next. Hey everybody, we're all set up to shoot our targets. We've got a GoPro on high speed down at the end of the range on the targets. We've got a side shot here, which I just picked up at the Utah Air Guns open house yesterday, actually the day before, on Friday, and we got it set up on our Hawk Sidewinder, sitting on top of an FX Crown, and we're going to send some 22 pellets downrange and see how our targets do. Well, that was all 7 with one shot. I think we'll pause here, and next thing we'll do is unload a full magazine into each target and see how that works out. But we'll cut it here so you don't have to sit through all that, and we'll come back and show you the results. So after quite a few pellets, at least one tin of exact jumbo heavy Diablos from JSB. We can see that some of these took some damage, and sample number 1 is the one that obviously bent the most, and it's folded over pretty good. And again, this was 1/8 inch thick, hot rolled steel, no heat treatment. The other sample, which was case hardened with a case hardening compound, held up a little bit better, but started to bend, and I think it would have continued if we kept shooting it. Interestingly, the 1095 also started to take a little bend as well. Not as pronounced, but it's definitely there. And when we get into the heat-treated version, it seems to be okay. This was hardened and then tempered back to more of a spring steel. These guys, the 3/16, I think you could have shot either one of them probably all day. I don't think they would have cared. And then this one down at the end, which I thought might have actually broken, it did not. There's no cracks. It doesn't seem to be distorted at all. Spin it around. It's nice and straight still. This one was fully hardened with no temper. And I honestly, if I was going to make a bunch of targets, I'd probably make this the hit piece, the target section, out of 1095 and just fully harden it and see how it goes. I'm not seeing any cracks developing or anything else, and that pretty much wraps up our target steel test. And we'll make up some targets here pretty soon, maybe some Army guys out of this thinner 1095 and heat treat it, and maybe we'll burn up this 3/16 plate too, make some interesting things out of that. Might as well not let it go to waste. Anywho, if you want to make targets last, pick a good steel and heat treat it, and they'll last. You can also go with any of the AR, which are abrasion resistant steels. AR 500 is used a lot, but really tough to get in these thinner dimensions. You have to buy a whole sheet of it. It's like $1,000, and it's really hard to water jet because it is abrasion resistant, and that's what a water jet is an abrasive cutter. So if you're going to go with any of the abrasion resistant steels, you're better off using a process like laser or plasma to cut them out, or by hand, either way. But anyway, they're really tough to cut. The nice thing about the 1095 is you can get it in an annealed state fairly inexpensive. I mean, it's certainly not cheap steel, but it will respond to heat treating and hold up pretty darn well. And big thanks to this guy for helping us out for this test. I got to meet Frederick Axelson Friday at Air Guns of Arizona. Or no, I'm sorry. Ooh, that was a faux pas. Utah Air Guns at their grand opening. And also met the guys at Side Shot. Got a killer deal on a side shot, $175. Could not be happier with that. And we'll put some of that footage in this video too. Anyway, thanks for staying with me, and we'll see you again soon. Bye.